Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravanya Pracharini Nirbhishesha Sunyavadi Paskachaya Dasatani. Good morning. This morning we continue reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam first canto, chapter 17, text 38. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Cheva Narottanam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamudiyayat. Nasbhesya Bhadrasya Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavite Naistike. Sutta Uvacha Apyahtitas tada tasmai Stanani Kalaye Dada Jutam Panam Staya Suna Yatra Dharma Sato Vida. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. First, the word for word translation. Sutta Uvacha, Sutta Goswami said, Abhyaktita, thus being petitioned, Tada, at that time, Tasmai, unto him, Stanani, places, Kalaye, to the personality of Kali. Dada gave him permission, Dyutam, gambling, Panam, drinking, Striyaha, illicit association with women, Suna, animal slaughter, Yatra, wherever, Adharma, simple activities, Chaturvida, 4 kinds of. Translation. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Parikshit, thus being petitioned by the personality of Kali, gave him permission to reside in places where gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter were performed. Purport. The basic principles of irreligiosity, such as pride, prostitution, intoxication, and falsehood, counteract the 4 principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The personality of Kali was given permission to live in 4 places, particularly mentioned by the king, namely the place of gambling, the place of prostitution, the place of drinking, and the place of animal slaughter. Srila Jiva Goswami directs that drinking against such scriptural principles as those which govern the Sautramani Jahya, association with women outside marriage, and killing animals against the injunctions of the scriptures are irreligious. In the Vedas, 2 different types of injunctions are there. One type for the pravritas, those who are engaged in material enjoyment, and another type for the nivritas, or those who are engaged in becoming liberated from material bondage. The Vedic injunction for the pravritas is to gradually regulate their activities towards the path of liberation. Therefore, for those who are in the lowest stage of ignorance and who indulge in wine, women, and flesh, drinking by performing Sautramani Jahya, association of women by marriage, and flesh eating by sacrifices are sometimes recommended. Such recommendations in the Vedic literature are meant for a particular class of men and not for all. But because they are injunctions of the Vedas for particular types of persons, such activities by the Pavritas are not considered adharma. One man's food may be poison for others. Similarly, what is recommended for those in a mode of ignorance may be poison for those in a mode of goodness. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu therefore affirms that recommendations in the scriptures for a certain class of men are never to be considered adharma or irreligious. But such activities are factually adharma, and they are never to be encouraged. The recommendations in the scriptures are not meant for encouragement of such adharma, but for regulating the necessary adharma shall lead to the path of dharma. Following in the footsteps of Maharaj Pariksit, all executive heads of state have a duty to see that the principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness, are established in the state, and that the principle of religion, namely pride, illicit female association, or prostitution, intoxication, and falsity, are checked by all means. And to make the best use of a bad bargain, the personality of Kali may be transferred to places of gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter, if there are any places like that. Those who are addicted to these irreligious habits may be regulated by the injunctions of the scripture. In no circumstances should such habits be encouraged by any state. In other words, the state should categorically stop all sorts of gambling, drinking, prostitution, and falsity. The state which wants to eradicate corruption by majority may introduce the principles of religion in the following manner. 1. 2 compulsory fasting days in a month, if not more, austerity. Even from the economic point of view, such 2 fasting days in a month in the state will save tons of food, and the system will also act very favorably on the general health of the citizens. 2. There must be compulsory marriage of young boys and girls attaining 24 years of age and 16 years of age, respectively. There is no harm in co-education in the schools and colleges, provided the boys and girls are duly married, and in case there is any intimate connection between a male and female student, they should be married properly without illicit relation. The Divorce Act is encouraging prostitution, and this should be abolished. 3. The citizens of the state must give in charity at least 50% of their income for the purpose of creating a spiritual atmosphere in the state or in human society, both individually and collectively. The principles of the Bhagavatam should be preached, namely A. Karma Yoga, or doing everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. B. Regular hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam from authorized persons or realized souls. C. Chanting of the glories of the Lord congregationally at home or at places of worship. D. Rendering all kinds of service to the Bhagavatas, engaged in preaching Srimad Bhagavatam. And E. Residing in a place where the atmosphere is saturated with God consciousness. If the state is regulated by the above process, naturally there will be God consciousness everywhere. Gambling of all description, even speculative business enterprises, is considered to be degrading. And when gambling is encouraged in the state, there is a complete disappearance of truthfulness. Allowing young boys and girls to remain unmarried past the above-mentioned ages and licensing animal slaughterhouses of all description should be at once prohibited. The flesh eaters may be allowed to take flesh as mentioned in the scriptures and not otherwise. Intoxication of all description, even smoking cigarettes, chewing tobacco, and drinking tea must be prohibited. Going back to the verse. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaj Pariksit, thus being petitioned by the personality of Kali, gave him permission to reside in a place where gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter were performed. Shakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shikurave namah. Chitchetayamanopistam stapitam yena bhutale. Svamrapkadamyam dadati svapadantikam. Vandeham shiru shiyodapad kamalam shirum vaishnavam sha. Shirupam jagajatam sagan ragnatam vitam tam sajivam sadvaitam savdutam parjana saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakalita Shivishakam vitam sha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Kopka Kantara Dakant Namastate Tapta Kansna Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishvana Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriye Vancha Kalpta Visha Kripa Sinve Visha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Nama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravanya Pachari Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskachai Desatarani. Hare Krishna. So Kali personified begged from Maharaj Pariksit to save his life, and yes, and he asked also to have a residence where he could stay. That and Maharaj Pariksit is replying here. You can stay where there is animal slaughter, intoxication, prostitution, that gambling, that this is a very special verse. It's practically the only verse in the Bhagavatam where the four regulative principles are straightly mentioned. Prabhupada discusses them in the purport. That because it's also not found in other scriptures as far as I've read, but in this verse here in the Bhagavatam, these principles of religion are very clearly mentioned. That and Kali, I heard some devotees, disciples asking Bhakti Charamaj, is Kali really a person? And Bhakti Charamaj said, yes, he's a person. I heard also Kadamakana Maharaj speaking about Kali. And he must have the reference, the scriptural reference, where this is mentioned, although he does not mention it. But it says Kali is a lower demigod who who resides in heaven, in the Indra Loka. That, but he has a special mission to be active on the earthly planets during each Kali Yuga. That is his mission. Otherwise, he's not active. He's in the heavenly planets. That heavenly planets are always in the heavenly planets. There's always Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, a mixture of that. That's a situation eternally there. Well, as long as it exists, the heavenly planets. Here we have 4 yugas rotating on the earthly planets. That's different. Although Kali is only active on this earth in Kali Yuga, that Maya is always active. Maya is active all over the universe. Also on Satya Loka. Brahma is also sometimes in Maya. We have seen in the Bhagavatam when he became attracted to his daughter Vak. So he's always also under the illusory energy. What to speak of Indra. Indra, we have seen many times becoming proud. Pride comes in his heart. He forgets, and the next month again. But, So Maya is there constantly. That it's mentioned in the Brahma Samhita that from the Indra Gopa up to Brahma, all living entities are under the illusory energy. There's no exception. But of course, when we become Krishna conscious, we are not becoming affected to it. But there is a story in the Puranas where Kali became active outside his routine of Kali Yuga. He got a special mission. That, for that we have to go back to a certain lady. I forgot her name. But she had a Svayamvar ceremony to choose her husband. So it was officially announced, and Indra became also interested, and also Nala and Agni. So Nala was also kind of demigod, as I remember. That and I forgot the name of the girl who was to be married, but that so Nala was going to do the test to shoot an arrow at a certain target. That and because he wanted also the hand of the lady. So Nala was on the way, but then Indra and Agni stopped him and said, he said, we want to we want to marry that girl, so we want you to do service, they said to Nala. You shoot this target on our behalf. But Nala said, but I was on the way and I want to marry her, so I cannot do that. But Nala was, as I remember, was also a human being, was not a heavenly. And heavenly, demigod. That, but anyway, good. That then Agni and Indra went to this lady and said, "We want to marry you." But she said, "I've already decided who will be my husband. So need to do a swayamvar that I will marry Nala." Okay. So they disappeared. But then later, when the ceremony was there, in which she would select her husband by offering a garland, then suddenly there appeared 3 Nalas. So Agni and Indra had also taken the form of Nala. So the girl was thinking what to do. And that, how do I know who is the right one? And she started to pray to the Supreme Lord, and because she was very powerful because of her chastity. And by her prayers, Agni and Indra could not maintain their form as Nala. So they had to redraw, and finally Nala remained, and she offered him a garland. But then Indra and Agni and the other demigods said, "This is not fair. This Nala is a human being, that we are demigods. He disrespected us." From the moment Indra and Agni had said to him that they would like to marry the girl, he should have withdrawn that, to taken a back seat. So he disrespected us, and we want to punish him. So they asked Kali to go on a mission outside his routine. And Kali entered the mind and the senses of Nala. And he controlled him. And he made him gambling, and he lost everything. That he made them intoxicated. So he became very degraded, and he had nothing anymore. And he and his new wedded wife were in the forest. And Nala said, of course it was Kali speaking to him. He said, "Oh, I don't deserve to be your husband. That's now very clear, and I will leave." But the girl said, "How can you leave? Yeah, and leave me alone in the forest?" But anyway, he left. And the girl was alone in the forest, and there came a hunter trying to rape her. But by the power of her chastity, the hunter was killed. And somewhere or another, she came out of the forest. And then later, Nala came to his senses again. And he was again brought by the girl, and I forgot her name, but some demigods revealed her identity, because then he was not brought before the girl immediately, but he was brought before a young man, because the girl had been pregnant of him. And some demigod revealed to him, some Gandharva, this is your son. That anyway, then Kali draw his power. But that's the power of Kali. It degrades us. It creates everywhere there's quarrel, there's Kali. That we can see his presence when there's Kali. Kali is very powerful. We see that in this world. There are so many quarrels, so many war-making people who are leaders. It's all Kali. That Kali's kingdom is Kali Yuga. But as long as we are following the four regulative principles and engage in devotional service, Kali cannot get us. But when you stop it, then Kali takes immediately over. He's waiting for that opportunity. Not Prabhupada writes in the purport, yes, we should follow the Vedic way of life, which is based on the four principles of religion: truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, that and mercy. So as long as we follow these instructions, we will be protected. But of course, Prabhupada writes in the purport, he gives advice. He said one should forbid the men who are in charge of the leaders of society. They should forbid slaughterhouses, forbid alcohol consumption, that forbid prostitution houses, forbid slaughterhouses. But now the government allows them and take advantage on alcohol. They put big taxes also on prostitution, that they get a lot of money from this illicit activities. But it has such heavy reactions. And also the fact that he says, yes, girls above 16, they should be married before 16, and boys before 24. So these are clear injunctions that otherwise this prostitution is there. They marry for a few years, thinking that their relationship is love. Then it turns into hate, and they go to the next one. That they marry 6-7 times or whatever. That is Kali Yuga. There are practically no families where husband and wife are still together. That it's all broken up in Kali Yuga. And because quarrel comes, so this is the result of these four breaking these 4 principles of religion. And Kali is expert in it. He's expert. He creates quarrel. And everywhere where there's gold, where there's prostitution, drinking, and slaughtering of animals, Kali is there. That is his kingdom. In the time of Maharaj Pariksit, there were no such places. They were not allowed. But in Kali Yuga, they are everywhere. And this cow slaughter causes manslaughter later. And without compassion, the laws of nature are very stringent. We read it in the news every day. So many people killed, one after another. But in the time of Maharaj Pariksit, there was a Mahabharat, and he would not allow that. Kali has no power outside of Kali Yuga. When Krishna was here, he had no power. From the moment Krishna left, Kali entered through Shringi. That created quarrel between the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas by polluting Shringi. An unnecessary cursing was going on, and so on. And by that, the Varnashram system came degraded, because when the Brahmins become polluted, they become proud. And then the Kshatriyas, they decide not to follow their advice. And they act whimsically for their own sense gratification. Of course, then the Vaishyas, who are in charge of agriculture, trade, cow protection, they revolt. They start to give benefits to one Kshatriya towards another. So they are ruling with their capital. And that's the beginning of capitalism. Capitalism means ruling with capital. That's ruling based on material profit. If it's good for the business, then the rule is good. That we see that if the business with some country is not satisfactory, we put taxes, things of that. So that is going on. Yes. But then when they start to rule with the capital, then these Vaishyas start to exploit the Sudras. And the Sudras say, no, we don't want it. We start a revolution. And that is how communism was born. So we see capitalism, communism are degraded systems coming from a Varnashram system in decay. And that's a fact. And that therefore there's so much upheaval in this world. And that so many things are going on at the moment, especially. But at every moment in Kali Yuga, because Kali reigns. So we should not allow Kali into the Hare Krishna movement. We see sometimes quarrels coming up. But if our self-interest takes over, then Kali becomes powerful. If we stay united around Prabhupada, Kali cannot enter. And that's up to us. But it's a dangerous age, Kali Yuga. That it's also a fortunate age because Prabhupada appeared. We have the Hare Krishna mantra, and we have our defense system against Kali. That so yes, so we should be very careful, and that this what we heard here is a long purport that Prabhupada criticizes the present rule that for allowing cow slaughter, intoxication, prostitution, and as long as that is there, criminality will be there. Is a source of fighting criminality, cheating. That is the direct results we see today. That, but our mission, Prabhupada said, is to re-establish these principles of religion. Because the principles of religion, the four relative principles, that's the basis. But the highest principle of religion is developing love for Krishna. But we can only give people the highest if they follow first the lowest. That. Otherwise, the chanting will not be fruitful if we break the four regulative principles. So, therefore, it's very important. Therefore, it's very difficult for devotees to associate with non-devotees. Non-devotees, they want to do all these things. And that they want to drink, they want to eat palatable meat dishes or fish dishes or whatever. That is their life. But we cannot participate in that. Yeah. So, therefore, we have to associate with devotees. Association with devotees will uplift us. That even if it begins with internet association, but we should associate. We associate with the Bhagavatam. The Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. With so many nice verses that because Sutta Goswami said that well, it's in the 7th, it's Sutta Goswami, he says that just by giving our reception to this Bhagavatam, loving devotional service for Krishna sprouts up at once and extinguishes the fire of lamentation, illusion, and fear. Kali causes lamentation, illusion, and fear. The Bhagavatam that roots it out, and we become peaceful. We become undisturbed in the most disturbing situation. Because that is Kali Yuga, one disturbance after another. So yes, that the advantage of Kali Yuga also is mentioned in the 12th canto of the Bhagavatam, and that it is mentioned there that Kali dosha niderajam astyeko man guna kirtanaiva Krishna syamukta sangha pramvajav. My dear king, although Kali Yuga is a notion of faults, there is still one good quality in this age. Simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one can become free from material bondage and be promoted to the transcendental kingdom. So that's our weapon against Kali. As long as we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, he has no power. So we should never stop that in this age of Kali. So any comments or questions, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
Hare
thank you for the class.
Haribol.
So is there any, do we know of, is there a relationship with Kali and Lord Shiva? Because we know Lord Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance. Does it talk about Kali as some kind of subordinate of Lord Shiva, or how do we understand that?
Yeah, I don't know about the relationship mentioned in the scriptures, but Kali wants to engage everyone in the mode of ignorance. And that is the domain of Lord Shiva. Yes. That so they are working together in some sense. But Lord Shiva has not the intention to degrade everyone. He is in charge of the mode of ignorance. But it is the mode of ignorance means destruction. That and yes, that if we commit activities in the mode of ignorance, what is the result? Set in Bhagavad Gita. We will take, when we die in that mode, we take birth in the animal kingdom, or we go to the lower planetary systems. That is the result. We go lower. That in these hellish planets, probably we will come to our senses a bit. In Galilee, to the species, we will come up again. But that takes some time. So it's not an eternal condemnation. It's a lesson to be learned. And Lord Shiva plays his part in it. But I don't know about a relationship between Kali and Shiva. Only that is what they have in common. Shiva is in charge of ignorance, the mode of ignorance. And Kali Yuga brings everyone to that mode of ignorance. But yes, these 4 ages have to come, and after Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga will start again. That is a natural circle that of time, or the direction of time for the earthly planet. That's what I could say on it, Sharan.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Then we will end the class here. And I wish you a nice Krishna conscious day. Please think always of Krishna. Try not to forget him. Wishing you all the best. Jai Prabhupada. Jai Guru Maharaj.
His Holiness Bhakti Prabha Maharaj ki jai. Thank you very much, Maharaj.